You and I are evenly matched. How dare you say that to me? I see you're itching for something. Old disciple, I hold the slaughtering knife. I am already desperate with thirst. Be careful of me. Your head will be on the line. The principal of the second high school let out a painful cry. Your competitor's last name is Tu, and his last name is Dog. When the butcher met the old dog, this is destined to be a discordant scene. At this moment, the former principal of Sangao saw this. Chiming in, "Are you two done yet?" Principal Tu and Principal Goose said in unison. Scolded, "Shut up." The former principal suddenly felt awkward. These two guys seem to be enemies. Actually, it's a feud. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have gotten involved. This is just a little interlude. The big shots in the other private rooms. They also began to roll up their sleeves and also prepare the funds. Checked it a few more times. This is a relief. Bai Qianlang chuckle. It seems that this auction, very popular among everyone. Let me introduce. These three items are the showstoppers. Let's start with the first item. He unveiled the first auction item, exposed inside. A blood red pill. The elixir was as large as an adult's fist. Someone has doubts in their heart. Dan is so big. I'll to eat. Bai Qianlang introduced. This is a third-tier flesh and blood pill. Although the refining technique is somewhat cruel, it is the essence of the entire beast's life, extracted, using a special technique, taking various medicinal herbs, the method of merging into a pill. But this blood and flesh elixir has astonishing effects. This third-tier flesh and blood pill, awakens below the seventh tier can benefit from it. Awakened individuals of tier 3 and below can take this and enhance the power of 1,000 gold. The higher the combat power level, the worse the effect. Sixth order awakened one can increase 300 in strength, but I have to say, can encounter the blood flesh pill during inheritance. It requires a great deal of fate. This is also a merchant from outside the city. I urgently need money. Just sold. Everyone. Hunger must not be ignored. Food doesn't come again. Starting bid price, 10 million. Each time the price increases, it must be no less than 1 million. As soon as the voice fell, everyone began to breathe heavily. This is a pill that can directly enhance strength. Many people have only heard of, never seen before. This elixir can appear in inheritance. It was all about luck. Bai Qianlang is right. Missed this shop. Next time we meet again. It won't be that easy, especially for the people of the sixth order. They have reached a bottleneck. They have reached a bottleneck. The next step is the seventh level, but the seventh-stage bottle tent is too strong. Someone has been trapped for decades. Despite this flesh and blood pill, we can't let them break through. But it can enhance strength, even with a strength of 300 pounds. That is also strength. No one can resist the temptation of enhanced power. Moreover, these people of theirs, it's been too long, did not experience it. I feel my strength growing. For this flesh-blood pill, many people are already itching to get started. Victory is inevitable. The argument has started below, but these are just the people in the hall arguing. The person upstairs hasn't made a sound yet. Bai Qianlang opened the folding fan, gently fanning, very showy, quietly watching. Lin Yu also didn't call for help. He is not in a hurry either. The more than 10 people on the second floor. It will always rain again. He also doesn't know his own money. Can you buy a few finale items? First, observe the changes. I don't know what this flesh and blood pill is. Can life absorb and drain talent? Life's extraction. It is the F-level talent he obtained from the blood-sucking vine. Once, because the effect was too small. The absorption speed is too slow. Let Lin Yu quickly forget this talent. He suddenly remembered. Now the main talent is at S-rank. According to the system's rules, after achieving S-class talent, you can upgrade to new talents now. I can still hear the shouting below. It seems like it won't end anytime soon. Lin Yu asked. System, my remaining upgrade points can drain life from talent. Which level to upgrade to? Host, can be upgraded to Class B. Upgrade me, Lin Yu said. Then 50,000 upgrade points have been deducted. Upgrade begins. Then, upgrade successful. Congratulations on the host's second talent, life absorption. Upgrade to Class B, B-level life absorption talent. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Enhance the devouring effect and speed. Can devour anyone, and substances that contain life energy, after devouring, can greatly enhance the host's physical attributes, and a small amount of mental energy. At this very moment, Lin Yu re-entered the sea of consciousness. In his sea of consciousness, the star that represents the gift of drawing life, as if the heart is beating. With each heartbeat, just once of expansion, not long after, it has already increased in volume by hundreds of times, although it pales in comparison to the doppelganger star, still just a little one, but compared to other skill planets, yet it is a colossal creature. At the same time, Lin Yu's mind, a large amount of information about life-draining abilities also flooded in. He felt a slight stir of thought, exited the sea of consciousness. The palm gently lifted. A small black vortex appeared in the palm. The talent has just been unleashed. He developed a huge appetite. Eat, eat, eat. Swallow, swallow, swallow. This desire is like a word from a demon, lingering in my mind, constantly urging Lin Yu to devour the essence of life. Lin Yulin quickly closed her talent. The black vortex immediately vanished. The crazy appetite also disappeared. The skill consumption has increased, but the side effects have also intensified, Lin Yu said. However, the current life draws from. It should be able to devour the blood-flesh pill now, no longer limited to biological corpses. Lin Yu thought to himself, he must obtain this flesh and blood pill. Look up. The person upstairs has already joined the bidding. The principal of Yigao Academy exclaimed loudly, 36 million star coins. Old man, I have a lifetime of savings. Fear not the battle. At this moment, the head of the Liu family raised the sign. Xiao Dao. 50 million. The principal of Yigao too fell silent in an instant. He indeed has 15 million. But this requires selling everything we have. Is it worth it? Principal Gu mocked. It's fake, right? It can't be done, right? I will offer 51 million star coins. He just said. As soon as he finished speaking, the scene is quiet. Everyone fell silent. It seems they don't intend to bid anymore. The principal of Underdog School is not doing well. You've gone overboard with showing off. Cold sweat suddenly broke out on my forehead. Bai Qianlang saw that no one was continuing to bid. Xindao should be that the price has peaked. He opened the folding fan, counted 51 million at once. 51 million 2 times. 51 million 3. The principal of Underdog School is anxious. He can also come up with 51 million. But it requires serious injury to make a difference. Unless embezzling public funds, but just thinking about the consequences. He broke out in a cold sweat. Wait a moment. Wait a moment." He hurriedly stopped him. Bai Qianlang asked curiously, "Don Principal, what are you doing?" "Nothing much. It's just that my waist pouch isn't that sturdy. It was just a moment of impulse." "I'm sorry." The principal of the second high school felt extremely awkward, gritted his teeth, and said, Bai Qianlang saw this scene, but not angry at all, laughing and speaking. "Since you've withdrawn from the bidding, please pay a 5% penalty, a total of 2,550,000 Singapore dollars." The principal of the second high school felt such regret, but I could only grit my teeth and agree. Liu family had 50 million. "Is there anything higher?" Bai Qianlang shouted. A silence fell below, and the principal of a university, the principal of Yigao High School, smiled crookedly, sneered, "HMPH. The green onion stuck in a pig's nose." Yuan Zhan, like, "So funny, so funny. The dog principal has lost all face." Blocked my ears automatically. He has gone into isolation. This time, he made his face larger. The principal of Yigao 2 School spoke for a while, seeing Principal Gu not responding to him. He also found it uninteresting. "Just shut up. 51 million. Guests in room 201. Bid 51 million. Is there a higher one? 55 million. 60 million. Once this price is set." The scene fell silent once again. Chapter 65. Last key screenshot. The crowd erupted. The crack in wall 201. What great financial resources can compete with Liu family's head in bidding? Who is this person? Sounds like you're not very old. But it was clearly a disguise. They don't want to reveal their identity. Once you consume this flesh and blood pill, it will be gone. There's really no need for shortcuts. He doesn't need to hide his identity. What if they are just shortcuts? Everyone, the crowd in the hall was buzzing with discussions. They are inheriting. They are all wealthy people. But this kind of wealth cannot be compared to Lin Yu and them. If we really had to categorize wealth classes, they belong to the middle class, and Lin Yu and the others belonging to the wealthy class. But the poor can't even enter the main gate. So there are no poor people here. The people in the private room also looked puzzled, unable to discern the other person's identity. Adding the flesh and blood pill, it's not a necessity for many people. They couldn't be bothered to care. Finally, the blood and flesh pill was still captured by Lin Yu. Bai Qianlang unexpectedly, glancing in the direction of room 201. A snap of the folding fan. He called out loudly, "Congratulations to the friends of 201. Obtain this precious third stage blood flesh pill. Later, the deceased will go to make the delivery. Please wait a moment." Bai Qianlang placed the flesh pill back into the box, handed it to a servant. Then he walked towards the second room. These 3 final items. But what everyone has been looking forward to for a long time. Many people had already learned about the information regarding the 3 final items. But at this moment, watching Bai Qianlang move in a leisurely manner, cursing inwardly, "You should move a bit faster." Bai Qianlang smiled. "I thoroughly enjoy this feeling of being the center of attention." He caught a glimpse of the crowd's eager gaze. It feels like drinking soda on a hot summer day, generally smooth and pleasant. He slowly raised his hand. Everyone's gaze moved along with his arm. Suddenly, he withdrew his hand, switched to another hand, flying at high speed, suddenly lifted the black cloth. This time, could leave everyone in a terrible situation. My heart skipped a beat. The crowd secretly cursed. "Are you playing with us?" The anger inside me. I wish I could hold Bai Qianlang down and give him a good beating. The second room of the party. He shouted at the top of his lungs. The sound was stretched long. Some people can't take it anymore. Cursed. You turtle grandson. Can you hurry up? Bai Qianlang was startled, quickly becomes serious. He coughed and said, "This is still a pill." He noticed the unfriendly gazes of the crowd, not daring to hesitate. Lizzie said, "However, this pill is not meant to be consumed, because this is a fifth-stage fire poison pill. Can be used as a grenade. A circular area of 10 meters in diameter below the fifth level. No grass grows, even a sixth-tier awakened one, in a moment of distraction. It is also possible to be seriously injured. This fire poison pill, from a friendly merchant of the Blue Star people. I heard it is a unique product from their world. It has been a bestseller around the world for several years. Of course, I don't know the truth. You can savor it for yourselves. Nature can't be found elsewhere. This is an outing trip, the ultimate means of self-preservation. Make sure you don't miss it. Missing out is a regret. Starting bid price, 20 million. Each price increase must not be less than 1 million. As soon as the words fell, the imagined explosive scene did not occur, not to mention the big shot on the second floor. It's the people in the lobby on the first floor, too lazy to negotiate. Someone said, "I am an academic, rarely goes out hunting. This item is not very useful to me. Let me give it to all my friends." The principal of Yigeatu lightly tapped his fingers on the table, thinking about whether to buy it or not. Now is a great opportunity. Principal Underdog sits on the chair, tapping my toes nervously. Should I buy it or not? He hesitated. This fire poison pill is indeed quite good. But regarding the mindset of the crowd, attraction is far less powerful than flesh and blood. That's it. I don't know. Someone has stopped tapping their fingers. Someone stopped shaking their leg. Someone raised the price sign. Someone offered 21 million. The friend in room 201 offered 21 million. Is there anything higher? If there isn't any. This precious fire poison pill. It's just friends in room 201. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone felt a bit tense. But when I think about such a high price, still hesitated, especially the top figures. Their money. It is prepared for the battle over the last item. In their view, Zuru Dan is fine too. Fire poison pill or not. None are as precious as the last piece of jewelry. It seems this pill has a connection with the friends in room 201. Congratulations to this friend. Obtain 5 fire poison pills. Later, the deceased will go to deliver goods for a transaction. Please wait a moment. Then he closed the lid. Hand the box to the deceased. At this moment, everyone's gaze was focused on the final item, regardless of financial resources, still watching the excitement. At this moment, everyone was looking on with great anticipation. They want to know, can make the leaders of all top forces. The treasure that I personally came to bid on. What could it possibly be? Bai Qianlang turned slowly, but this slow motion immediately provoked a wave of dissatisfaction. Someone is angrily cursing at him, but from a distance he couldn't hear. But the lip movements can match. He followed the path. This last item. We can't keep up the mystery anymore. That he could see his arm returning to normal speed. Slowly unveiled the black cloth. Let us witness the moment of the final card. The black cloth is lifted. Expose a glass cabinet. Inside lies a beautiful golden stone. Everyone saw this golden stone. Someone's breathing became rapid. This shine. Besides, this is the gift of talent. Someone exclaimed, skill and capability. It has already become a rare item. On this day, the talent and resources are even scarcer, so rare that some spend their entire life being an outcast. It might not even lose a single talent gem. Of course, there is another reason. It is a gifted beast. Often, strength is powerful. A weakness who can encounter such fierce beasts. Strength is not weak either. Therefore, the weak find it even harder to obtain the talent and fortune. A channel was directly shut down. Suddenly, a gifted golden stone appeared before me, and then it will be auctioned off. Who is so extravagant? Isn't it good to do it yourself? Strength has increased. What is there? Bai Qianlang chuckled. Surely some people are puzzled. Why sell it? Actually, it's very simple. Because of this gifted stone. The level is only one. Another reason is the shipper urgently needs money. That's why I reluctantly sold it. This talent is called Kwebu. According to the seller, it is from a being with spatial abilities on the body of the avian beast. The function of this cloth is very simple. Teleportation. He actually had one more thing he didn't dare to say. That is, this sparrow cloth should actually be called Kunyi, because every time we use our talents, can only move a few inches. I want to use it for traveling. No need to think about it. As soon as the term teleportation came up, the scene instantly ignited with excitement. For 300 years, awakening of humanity, endless talents, but like space, time, pharma, even talents related to rules. Too little, even if it really happens. There are rarely any that exceed Class A. It seems that this kind of talent, because it's too extraordinary, bound by the rules of fate, restricted level, and teleportation, it is also among the talents of space. The most common ability. Such a talent is truly remarkable. As for one's own combat power, it's like adding wings to a tiger. Everyone was moved. The crowd on the second floor, eager to take action. Get ready for a money battle. Starting bid is 50 million. Ai Qianlang made a sound with his folding fan. Step aside, waiting for everyone to bid. 60 million, 70 million, 80 million. The price quickly rose to A, the height that makes people look up in awe. Chapter 66. The talent and fortune are within reach. The auction has ended. 120 million. This shocking price just came out, just cruelly shattered by someone. 140 million. Liu family had shouted in a deep voice. You are all wealthy people. Why not increase the price each time? No less than 20 million. As the voice faded away, brought pressure to many people. This price range. It's just a penalty fee. We just need about 10 to 20 million new Taiwan dollars, far surpassing the total worth of most people. Therefore, at this moment, those with insufficient financial resources all have become spectators, with a face full of envy. Looking at the scene before me, Liu family head has a broken face. Our city lord has passed away. A commanding voice came from a private room on the second floor. Everyone heard it. This is indeed the voice of the city lord. Suddenly startled, I didn't expect even someone living in simplicity. The rarely seen lord of the city has arrived. The allure of this talent is truly remarkable. The city lord is chasing after the prayer beads. Laughing, I will offer 160 million. It's your turn. Liu family head. It seemed like he casually named the price. It seems the cash in hand. So much that I don't care about this over 100 million Singapore dollars at all." Liu Jiaju lightly tapped his fingers on the table, but on the surface he remained calm. "I follow. 88 million." Everyone heard the price. Breathing became hurried. "This price is too high. You need to know. Lai families 1/3 of their assets. It is worth over 200 million new dollars. When all the assets are totaled, approximately worth over 700 million. The Liu family and the Lai family are about the same size. But now it takes a quarter. Buy a level 1 talent gold stone. Although this is a precious space-related talent gem. But after all, the rank isn't high. Many people feel that they are willing to spend a lot. To know, assets are one thing. Working capital is another matter. Some people have assets worth millions. But you asked him to take out 1 million. He can't take it out. Empathy. These families, although before the auction, temporarily withdrew the working capital. But the time is still short. There may not be sufficient liquidity. Someone who knows you well. Everyone shook their heads. These two are probably just putting on a brave face. For a gifted golden stone. Is it worth it? I bid 200 million new dollars. If Brother Liu continues to raise the price, then this item shall be given to Brother Liu. The city lord chased after the prayer beads, shouted loudly. As the voice fell silent, everyone was slightly taken aback. The city lord has a rather straightforward personality. However, this way, and also shifted the pressure onto Liu family's leader. If the other party raises the price, he just withdrew from the competition. It won't embarrass anyone either. If the other party does not increase the price, he just obtained the talent stone. This is his psychological price point. It's not worth it anymore if it goes any higher. At this moment, Liu family head was tapping his fingers. Furrow brows. He made a proposal. Increase the price by 20 million. It was originally to put pressure on others. Now the pressure has come to him. Increase the price or not. Is our cash enough? Liu family head asked the person next to him. Homer. Not enough. Liu family head felt a heaviness in his heart. Looked towards the hall. At this moment, the people in the hall were already in heated discussion. Two wealthy tycoons compete for riches. This is the biggest failure of the year. I wonder if Liu's family head will raise the bid again. After all, 220 million. The Liu family can't take it anymore. Purchased the gifted golden stone. The Liu family's business is expected to shrink. 1/4 done. Look, the head of the Liu family looked over this way. Is he going to place a bid? Everyone turned to the private room where Liu's family head was. The head of the Liu family poked his head out. Look around. He frowned, feeling very uncomfortable being watched. Just about to say to let someone bring over 20 million new dollars. The next moment, a familiar voice came through. Everyone was stunned. A very mechanical twist of the head. Looked towards that. The private room that kept surprising them. The next moment, the sound of Bai Qianlang echoed. Friends in room 201. Increase the price by 30 million. The total is 230 million Singapore dollars. Is there a higher price? If there is none. This third item is the grand finale. It falls again. The friend in room 201 has it. As the voice fell silent, everyone's expressions became strange. Who exactly is this 201? If we include this 230 million Singapore dollars. His total spending today has reached nearly 300 million. It's about inheriting a top-tier family. Can't take out that much cash. Where did this person get so much money? Many people are curious in their hearts. For the people in these 201 rooms, inspired to investigate. The Lord was slightly taken aback. Xuanzai. Sigh, I can't compete. If you raise the price again, the tigress at home is getting angry, though he is the lord of the city, inheriting a significant status. Again, it's the chief executive, but he is an official who fell from above. Even the Liu family is not as good as the bottom line. The Lord stopped rolling the Buddha beads, shouted loudly, "Could this friend come out to meet? Allow me to express my utmost respect to the landowner. He is certain about this. The person in room 201 is an outsider." As soon as I heard this, someone's eyes flickered. Ying Sis looked towards 201. Lin Yu said calmly, "No need." A very cold response. It is also hard to grasp. Liu family had stopped tapping his fingers on the table. Sign, this item has nothing to do with me. I quit. The two biggest bidders have both given up. In the end, this gold stone fell into Lin Yu's hands. Bai Qianlai looked over in surprise. Direction of 201. In my heart, I secretly thought, Lin Yu is quite generous, isn't she? Just received a huge fortune. This has all been spent. He closed the folding fan. A loud bang sounded. Said, "Congratulations to the friend in box 201. Joyfully received the final third item. Congratulations to this friend as well. Acquired the three most precious items from this auction. Later there will be the deceased. I will personally hand the item to you. Face-to-face transaction. 3 grand finale items. All were taken by a stranger. This made everyone very curious. Who is this person? The head of the Liu family instructed those around him. You all wait outside room 201. Once he appears, take the photo immediately. Then follow along. Investigate his background. The Lord also instructed his subordinates. You all go squat by the door. If he appears, remember to be friendly. Don't offend anyone. Not just them. There are still a few groups of people. Also took action. Every time the auction ends, such situations always occur. Inevitably. After all, wealth can move the heart. Lin Yu is a practitioner, taking the gifted stone in hand, paid and completed the transaction, just about to leave. At this moment, the deceased spoke. Mr. Lin, my master said, I hope you can leave through the secret passage. Because of what's outside the door, someone is already waiting for you. By family patriarch, the temperaments of the leaders of various factions. But it's very clear. These guys can become the leader of a powerful faction. Not a bit ruthless. It's hard to sit still. Not like him. He has the old master helping him to steady things. So no one dared to defy his orders. And this auction, the final 3 items are too precious. There might be someone who takes risks. I want to commit robbery. So he arranged for someone in advance. Bring Lin Yu. Leave through the secret passage. It is also to avoid. Similar things happened. Lin Yu said, nod slightly, said, please thank your master for me. Holding something. Following the deceased. Take a step. Leave the private room. In the midst of it all, he took advantage of the deceased's distraction. Quietly used a clone technique. The main body turned and blended into the hall, and the doppelganger follows the deceased. Continue walking through the secret passage. When the crowd leaves, this true self, also following the crowd in the hall, leaving the auction. This scene, not discovered by anyone. It's not that he doesn't believe in Bai Qianlai, but one must be cautious in everything. Only by having talent can one live long. This is also Zhao Qi, the survival philosophy he was often instilled with. The entity successfully left the auction house. The avatar also left the auction house. There were no unexpected events along the way. Release the doppelganger. Lin Yu went straight home. It is now late in the evening. Meanwhile, the head of the Liu family has not arrived. What? Haven't seen him come out. The Lord has also recalled his people. Other forces. The same method is used. In an instant, the high rollers of auction 201 spent 300 million in one go. The feat of capturing 3 items. Widely circulated in the room. People have different opinions about this. The true identity of the guests. Also valued. Some speculate. He is an adventurer from another realm. Some speculate. He is a young master from a big city. Some people speculate. He is Lin Yu. However, this statement just emerged. This caused everyone to burst into laughter. Chapter 67. Lin Yu drew a big pie for Lin Fan. Lin Yu carefully arranged several items, placed it on the table. He first picked up the first item. Activate Talent Life Collection. Place the black vortex on the flesh and blood slab. Suddenly, a powerful suction force. From the palm, a wisp of life's essence, extracted from the flesh and blood, as life energy, entering the body. Lin Yu's physique and spirit. Everyone is getting stronger. 10 minutes later, only a layer of skin remains over the flesh and blood, and Lin Yu's physique increased by 1/3. The enhancement of mental strength is not significant. It also allows him to control the range of his doppelganger, expanded to about 10 meters. This flesh and blood, pure life energy. That's why it can devour so quickly. This time, my strength has at least increased by 2,000. Resilience. Defense has increased by 30%. It's much better than taking it directly. This piece of flesh can bear it. A breakthrough in half a small path. Let Lin Yu's strength increased by about 30%. He picked up another item. Talent and destiny. Step back. Place the gifted stone on your forehead. Suddenly, talent and destiny, the light vanished. Drill into the center of the brow. The next moment, Lin Yu's vision shifted. Once again arrived at the Stone Sea. In the Stone Sea universe, 2 gifted stars quietly rotate. Suddenly, a beam of light shot in. Then, beside 2 stars, a smaller star was formed. Meanwhile, in his mind, there is also more information about hesitation. Step back. First level talent ability, depleting energy. After a brief delay, teleportation within a distance of 3 inches. Within 3 inches. Lin Yu's expression was strange. No wonder the seller wants to sell. Isn't this just a shift in inches? 3 inches is 10 centimeters. This distance. Not yet in a great position. And there's also a pre-roll. No wonder they are selling it. However, this talent, for others, like a chicken rib, but I have a system, absolutely upgradable. Increase teleportation distance. Once this talent ability is upgraded, then you can combine it with the shadow clone technique. Research in cloning, teleportation has been mastered. Lin Yu silently thought, system, can I upgrade my 3rd talent now? Host, not possible at the moment. Host, you need to take advantage of the next day. Upgrade to S-class. To upgrade to the 3rd talent. Understood. It seems we need to hurry up. Upgraded to the 2nd talent, life level reached. Lin Yu thought to herself, we need to put some pressure and motivation on Lin Fan. Lin Yu closed her eyes. Communicative talent doppelganger. At this moment, 30 miles away from the inheritance, Lin Fan was sitting cross-legged in the cave. A campfire was burning in front of him. By the campfire, roasting a gigantic leg of lamb, he tore off a piece of meat. "Put it in your mouth." Wu Wu was eating, while eating, muttering to oneself, "The essence. When can I go back? I miss home." A crisp sound echoed. Once again I bit down hard. "Cheeks are puffed up." He muttered softly, "HMPH, I am busy running around outside. You are sleeping at home. I eat, I eat, I eat. Lowering my head, I bit into the meat fiercely. Finally full, rubbed the round belly. He made a popping sound, lying on the ground, hands spread open. A look of deep sorrow. The main body says, "Let me earn 10,000 upgrade points in a day. I scored 100,000 yesterday. When will the contact be finished? I want to go home and rest." Reflecting on a day of monster hunting. He really misses home. The conditions in the wilderness are too harsh, and no one is talking to him. His chatty personality. A day without speaking. I feel anxious inside. Main body. If you don't contact me again, I will just go on strike. He shouted, venting. The sound echoes in the cave. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed in my mind. It made him sit up straight instantly. "You want to go on strike." The sound of the shower, echoing in Lin Fan's mind. Lin Fan heard the sound of the shower. Suddenly, I became alert. Hastily smiled in response. Main body. "How dare I go on strike? I was just joking. I earned 100,000 upgrade points yesterday. Can we take a break now? Just thinking about how I exceeded the task. The entity is contacting again. They must have come to give a reward. It's highly likely they are on vacation. I have exceeded 90,000 in performance. Is it possible to take a 9-day vacation?" He was filled with anticipation. Lin Fan has already begun to daydream about after the vacation, where to go for fun. If Lin Yu knew about his thoughts. I have to teach him a harsh lesson. Too complacent. Not at all like Lin Yu's essence. Lin Yu said, "Now I give you two choices. Choose one. 3 days off. Choose two. Achieve a performance of 1 million upgrade points. I will send you to learn a trade. You can choose your own craft." Lin Fan said without a moment's thought, "I choose two." He has a dream of becoming a shop owner. Learn a craft. Then I will be able to open my own shop. Lin Yu said, "Let's go. The faster you complete the task, the more skills you can learn, the better." Lin Fanwen felt a surge of excitement in his heart, immediately patted his chest and assured, "Complete the task as soon as possible." Lin Yu did not leave, but rather hidden. In the sea of stones, Lin Fan, watching his next move. Lin Fan's expression became serious. Extinguish the bonfire. Speaking of the Tang sword, walk towards the cave entrance. Walking along, cheering myself on quietly. Lin Fan, you can do it. He'll, as an external incarnation, except for not having Lin Yu's gifted abilities. Other skills, he has inherited everything, with the Tang sword in hand. A deep blue glow clung to the blade. Ning Busan, hidden and unspoken. When encountering a fierce beast, strike it with a single blow. HMPH. Instantly, a beam of azure energy. The slash sent it flying. A fierce beast was cut in half. Die quickly. Next moment, Lin Yu's mind. The system's prompt sound also rang out. Again, kill the black-bellied ring snake. Upgrade point over time. Lin Fan held a Tang Dao, walking along the way. caused quite a commotion, attracting a multitude of ferocious beasts, roaring at the sky, and, with a swift motion of the knife, another beast has died. Lin Yu looked at all of this with relief. This is the embodiment beyond the physical self. Is it the right thing to do? Anyway, it's not like I can die. Go ahead and mess around. Unfortunately, Lin Fan's personality is too impulsive, a bit lazy, listening continuously. The system notification sound rings out. Lin Yu's lips curled up, regained consciousness. Lin Yu looked at the small room, pushed the door, and stepped out of the house. Crossing several streets, Lin Yu arrived at a luxurious Chinese-style villa. Take out the key. Open the door. This villa is considered a gift from the Lai family. It's a nice house. I'll practice here for now. This villa. It is one of the assets gifted by the Lai family. It is also the residence he left for himself. The house is too small. Can't fit 100 clones. This place is big enough. Lin Yu smiled and activated her duplication skill. Suddenly, a white light emerged. Identical people, one after another, appearing around. Lin Yu said, "Brothers." Everyone go study. Wan Bao Ning Kai Ju nod in agreement. Then they each found a place to sit cross-legged, understanding the cultivation method. Wan Bao Ning Kai Ju. This technique is obscure and difficult to understand. It's not that easy to learn. But he has 100 avatars. Together we reflect. This speed, not just improve 100-fold. Lin Yu sat down cross-legged. Begin meditation practice. Nowadays, he is already an S-level awakened. Because of this, I have transformed my talent a few more times. Therefore, his cultivation speed, not better than S-class awakeness, are slow. The next day, in front of Lin Yu's house, a beautiful pearl knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. After a while, no one responded. She became a bit anxious. Raise your arm. A blinding thunderbolt was unleashed, just as I was about to break open the door with a palm strike. At this moment, the neighbor stepped out. Seeing this scene, said, "Are you looking for Lin Yu? She was out last night. Just headed out. Do you know where she went?" The girl asked. The neighbor shook his head. "I don't know." But the girl responded coldly. "Then turn and leave." The neighbor watched the girl. The departing figure murmured to oneself, "Such a cold temperament. She seems to be Zhao Qi." Zhao Qi gave Lin Yu again, sent several messages, but there was no response. This made her heart feel, started to worry. At this moment, Professor Wang called. "Professor Wang, don't look anymore. I have already found her." At this moment, Lin Yu, in cultivation. "It won't be resolved for a while. You should come back to the academy with me." Yesterday, Professor Wang received information from the academy. Let her go back now. But she is worried. Zhao Qi has no one to protect her. There will be danger. Zhao Qi planned to leave early, take back to the academy. Anyway, Zhao Qi has already been accepted early. Whether you go early or late, you're still going. Moreover, this inheritance, there is nothing left. Can't help her grow, except for one person. Lin Yu, this is worry. She can understand, too. Thus, I respected Zhao Qi's choice. But I didn't expect that. Lin Yu is in seclusion. 2 people. Are we going to miss it? Professor Wang shook his head, could not help but smile. The youth of today. Zhao Qi, I want to wait for her, answered coldly. Professor Wang, I've long been accustomed to it. Professor Wang, by tonight at the latest. Otherwise, no matter what, you have to come with me. Zhao Qi. Okay. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, it was afternoon. Lin Yu walks gracefully, feeling the enhanced energy within. The corners of her mouth instinctively curled up. Beep, beep, beep. The watch emitted a sound. Lin Yu looked down. After a long time, she murmured, Zhao Qi. Then he stood up and walked outside, by the bright moon lake. Lin Yu and Zhao Qi stood facing each other, the afterglow of the sunset, dyeing the lake water red. It also dyed both of their hair red. Zhao Qi brushed her hair, said, You know now. I have to go to the academy early. Lin Yu nodded. Yes, I know. The reason for all this, Zhao Qi has already posted it. On her wristwatch, Zhao Qi sighed, turning to face the lakeside. Facing the sunset, the afterglow spreads, stretched the shadows of the two. Zhao Qi smiled brightly. I will visit you in the future. Lin Yu also laughed. I can do that too. Peng. She nodded, unknowingly. The hands of the two, already held together. Two young boys and girls. Never really understood much about feelings. Just between each other. When the heart is swayed, naturally their hands clasped together. Let our hearts be connected together. This initial feeling of affection. Pure and beautiful. Only a lifetime to reminisce. The sunset dimmed a bit. The hands have parted. The heart has not separated. Outside the city, Lin Yu gazed at Zhao Qi, the departing figure. I feel an emptiness inside, waving goodbye again, until they disappeared over the horizon. Lin Yu I felt reluctant to part, turn around and go back, return to the villa. She couldn't calm her mind no matter what. Fury unleashed. Let the doppelganger go learn. Wan Beianing was furious. She picked up some miscellaneous books. It looked like Killing Time, Central City. A beam of sword light fell in front of the city gate. Welcome, Sword God Senior. Please come in. Chapter 68. Divine Sword Massacre. Blocking the sky and shading the sun. Central City. The city wall is towering. Large population. Flourishing trade and commerce. It is the politics of the human race. Economy. Cultural center. The merchants who come and go daily. Adventurer. Traveler, etc. Countless. At this moment, the intelligent broadcast from the city gate has just ended. Many passing pedestrians were instantly stunned. Then he looked up to search, after recognizing Lai Kinglian's identity. In a flurry of panic. Exhale sound. It really is the Sword God Senior. I haven't seen him in many years. Now I am old. He is still so young. The Sword God has come this time. Is it to save someone? Look at you all. The Sword God has come to the city. We quickly followed along. The city gate cleverly opened path for him. Lai Kingling walked in calmly. How long has it been? The news of the Sword God appearing in Central City. It appeared everywhere on the internet. The editor worked at lightning speed, wrote a large number of articles, sent it to the online platform. Suddenly, caused widespread frenzy among internet users. In these articles, there are speculations about the Sword God, Mu. There is also popular science. Legend of the Sword God. Of course, there are also some younger ones. Only a superficial understanding of the Sword God. The online world is very lively. Not only the netizens of Central City participated in the discussion. Even the netizens from overseas Sanxian City also excitedly expressed their views. I always stand by my point of view. Zhu Yang is not a murderer. There must be a conspiracy behind this. Anyone who believes in conspiracy theories. The heart must be dark. Fart. Zhu Yang, as a seventh-tier powerhouse, killed a Lai family. What benefits could there be? I have long suspected the authenticity of this case. Pract. Zhu Yang's cultivation level, although not high, but he is highly skilled in 6 techniques, especially the ability to cultivate Kai, close to master level. I am only 29 years old this year. The future is very bright. There was no need to wipe out an entire family. If it weren't for the actions of the Lai family, offended his youthful spirit. None of this will happen. You are all strategists. I firmly believe that the law enforcement agency will not make a mistake. On the internet, Du Yu Yang, even discussions about the sword god. It's getting more intense. However, soon they quieted down because someone started a live stream. Suddenly, this live stream room gathered among the massive crowd. The others in Central City saw this. They also started live streaming. In this scene, Lai Qinglian was dressed in blue, long hair flowing, waist, wielding a blood-red longsword. That is the divine sword of slaughter. Someone pointed out the accessories of Lai Qinglian in the scene. Divine sword massacre. Shouldn't it be divine sword and pure lotus? That was an old name. The sword of the past. It is cyan. The sword is called Qinglian. But ever since Sword God Senior, Barding the Void, the divine sword has changed its form. Perhaps there has been too much killing. The sword blade changed from blue to red. People who don't even understand this bit of history. It must be the young people. In those years, the ancestors of the human race battle with the different races from another world. Zio Sa Jiang Chang. How many people died? Only then did we have today's happy life. They didn't even know these things. All day long, just obsessed with chasing stars. So frustrating. Lai Qinglian is worthy of the title of sword god. It was all forged on the battlefield with blades and guns. Unfortunately, the human race has enjoyed peace for a long time. Many people have already forgotten his heroic deeds. It is instead the elderly who have experienced war. Remember all of this. When meeting the sword god, they are already teary-eyed. Back then, it is this figure, blocked countless invaders, guarded countless humans. Back then, sword god, Yama, charioteer, divine monk, Fu Yeazi and others, in order to protect humanity, to sacrifice everything for a cause, intermittently and with a foreign tribe, fought for over 200 years. Finally, decades ago, settled down. Many people also participated in that battle. That battle was too brutal. It became a memory they could never erase for the rest of their lives. Looking back now, still vivid in my memory, at this moment, someone disrespected the sword god. They are angry. Upon learning about his grandson, also participated in it. These grandsons. It would be terrible. Caught by grandpa. In an instant. Millions of grandsons in 300 cities. They all started to cry. Its sound was mournful. It sends chills down your spine. The great battle of that year. It's so tragic. Blood flows like a river. The bodies piled up like mountains. Nowadays, finally found my footing. We must not forget the deeds of our ancestors. Then, one by one, the grandfathers finished playing with their grandchildren. Then I'll start giving them. Tell the story of those years. In an instant, it unexpectedly ignited their fighting spirit. Countless young people going out to hunt or enlist in the military. At this moment, Lai Qinglian frowned slightly. for those live streaming around. He slightly showed it, a little impatient, but he did not drive them away. In his view, this is not a big problem. Entering Central City, the first thing that catches the eye is it is a road wider than the others. On both sides of the road, it is a cluster of tall buildings, and in the sky of the city, expensive flying cars weaving between the tall buildings. In the sky, there is also someone wearing the road administrator in an orange-yellow uniform, maintaining road order. Air, very prosperous. It is far from comparable to inheritance. At this moment, a beautiful young girl, under the guidance of an old man, finally arrived at Central City. She watched all of this, exclaimed in amazement, "What a magnificent sight!" Professor Wang proudly said, "The Academy is even more beautiful than this, more luxurious." Don't drop your jaw in surprise. Can see Zhao Qi, a look of surprise. It's truly rare. Suddenly, a commotion echoed from afar. He frowned and said, "What happened?" "The sword god senior has arrived." Zhao Qi resumed her aloof demeanor. Dan said. Professor Wang exclaimed in surprise, "How did you know?" His. He pointed to his watch. Said. Professor Wang awkwardly opened his watch. "Sure enough, I saw it. News of the sword god's arrival. Not only that, there's still a live broadcast. At this moment, every live stream room is packed. On the screen, the sword god appeared calm, but the furrowed brow, it shows that he is not at peace within himself." Professor Wang admired the demeanor of the sword god. "In my heart, I revere the sword god," with a heart full of admiration. At this moment, the sky suddenly darkened. Professor Wang, scared, my hands shook a little. Looking up, only in the sky, unbeknownst to Wen, a red giant sword lay there. This sword is very large, hundreds of meters wide, not knowing how long it has been. Blocked the hunter. Let's go. Let's go take a look. Professor Wen felt curious. Speaking of, Zhao Qi nodded, followed along. At this moment, around sword god Lai Kinglian, the crowd has gathered. They gazed at the giant red sword above the sword god's head. Everyone gasped and expressed their concerns. "Sword god, what are you planning to do? Are we really going to have a big battle?" No way. No way. We finally achieved peace. We can't have a civil war. Sword god senior, you remain calm. Please think carefully." At this moment, sword god Lai Kinglian took a small step forward. HMPH. The footsteps have just landed. The giant sword above suddenly widened by 10 meters. He slowly walked toward the Law Enforcement Bureau. With each step taken, the giant sword grows a bit longer. The sunlight is just a bit more blocked. The sky just dims a little more. When he arrived at the entrance of the Law Enforcement Bureau, the giant sword overhead has completely blocked out the sunlight. The surroundings fell into darkness. Everyone was amazed. Xin Chen Chen Jan. It's hard to come to my senses after so long. They looked up at the giant sword. I no longer know how wide that giant sword really is. How long has it been? Because of the size of the giant sword. As far as the eye can see, there is no end. The sword god in a simple white robe stopped in front of the Law Enforcement Bureau. "Sunzi, come out." As the voice fell, the sound resonates but does not fade. Flying towards the Law Enforcement Bureau. Law Enforcement Bureau conference room. Sunzi is currently presiding over a meeting. Suddenly, a voice entered my ears. It shocked him greatly. He has arrived. What does he want to do? Art attack. Sun Lao does not reflect on himself. If a strong attack is launched, then it makes sense to have no sense. He thought to himself. Then came the ecstasy. He coughed, said, "Let's go." Follow the old man to discuss the meeting. Speak. He lifted his foot and walked towards the door. Seeing this, others reacted. They all followed closely behind. Only when they arrived at the entrance of the Law Enforcement Bureau, doubts arise in the city. Sun Zi wondered, when did it get dark? Others also turned their faces away. I don't know the reason. Until someone looked up at the sky. Suddenly my hands and feet trembled. Art in fear, pointing at the sky, trembling and unsteady. You oh look. 10. In the sky. Chapter 69. Hold your breath. The reactions of all beings. At the entrance of the Law Enforcement Bureau. At the threshold of the gate. Outside the door, standing sword god Lai Kinglian, and the onlookers. Inside the door, standing at the forefront is Sun Zi, numerous high-ranking officials from the law enforcement agency, and the guards, a figure with a giant red sword above their head. A piece of metal gazes behind the big gate, looking at each other. Lai Kinglian wore a light garment. Only the sword sheath remained at the waist. The giant sword of slaughter above, breathing the winds and clouds. It seemed like it could fall at any moment. The sword above my head is too big. If this sword really falls, I don't know how much destruction it will cause. In the live stream room, 300 people become hundreds of millions. Watching this live broadcast, watching the serious scene in the live broadcast room, many people held their breath. The bullet comments flew by rapidly, dense and intricate. I can't even see the picture clearly. Are they really going to fight? No. Are you out of your mind? The apprentice has been captured. Let the sword god senior remain calm and composed. Ju Yang has no problem. Sword god senior does not follow the conventional path. Choose to save others through the use of force. This is breaking the rules. You are framing me. It's still my fault for flipping the table. I'm not playing with you anymore. What principle is this? This case is full of doubts. There may be hidden truths. If it were someone else, they would definitely be calm and composed. But who is the sword god senior? That is truly a deep-seated hatred. The great hero who protects the human race. How could he endure this injustice? Stop making noise. Aren't you guys annoying? People are discussing animatedly. Most people do not wish for the sword god to take action. After all, peace is hard won. Those who have never experienced war. I also understand this principle. But some people hope that the sword god will take action. Clear the gloom in my heart. They expect a great war. Sweep away the old ailments of the past 300 years. Return the world to a bright and clear universe. In ancient times, 300 years is a cycle of a dynasty. And now, 300 years mark the beginning of decline from prosperity. At this moment, among the 2 billion humans, several hundred million. Pay attention to this matter. Many voices, many opinions. Expressing one's own opinion. If I were the sword god, just one sword strike. Whatever the case may be. You don't know. The outsiders are watching us with keen interest. Is that so? I mean to say, if there were no pressure from foreign tribes. Now, sword god senior. Certainly, it was cut down with a single sword strike. Back then, Sun was a defeated opponent of the sword god. Now the gap is even larger. He definitely can't defeat the sword god. It all depends on whether the sword god senior will kill him or not. Cabinet and major departments. I won't stand by and do nothing. Just wait for it. They will appear soon. Major factions in the 300 cities. Upon learning about this matter, mixed reactions regarding Zhu Yang's imprisonment. They have heard a little about it. The truth about this matter, many people do not have an interest in understanding. Instead, the reaction to the sword god, very concerned. Yan, still no execution. This will trigger a huge chain reaction. Overseas, Sanxian City, Dongsu Academy, ranked 8th among the top 10 prestigious schools. Creator, Fayeze. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a daised robe, watching a scene from the live broadcast, looking at the silhouette on the screen. In his mind, memories of the past surfaced. That person with one sword, scene of slaying through the alien army, still vivid in my memory. This intermittent war spanning over 200 years. They have sacrificed too much. Someone has already died. Someone is still sending to Kailai. But regardless of the dead, still forgotten, none of them should become victims, even as a bargaining chip in someone else's hands. He can understand the sword god's feelings. Just like this Dongsu Academy, he is the founder. If his disciple is bullied, he would also be furious. Sigh, if he hadn't gone to Guizhou that year, this son has his own constraints. Can't reach this high position at all. He muttered to himself, once upon a time, the sword god established the Supreme Academy, soon to become the first academy. Later, the return of rebellion. He took the initiative to move the academy to Guizhou. From that moment on, the Supreme Academy gradually fell into decline. An accident occurred back then. The teachers and students of Supreme Academy, death is death, the departure of those who leave. So that now only 2 people are left in the entire academy, despite only being 2 people. But he knows, as long as the sword god is present, this must be guarded against, as solid as a fortress. Unfortunately, today, he angrily left Guizhou. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. That's it. Let's take a trip. I hope there won't be a fight. Otherwise, both sides will suffer. It will not only become a joke among the swords, it will also highlight the potential of our human race. The next moment, his eyes changed. Clearly defined black and white eyes, gradually turning silver white. In the silvery white, it seems like the stars are twinkling. These are beautiful eyes. If a beautiful woman appears, or on the handsome guy, will be even more charming. The next moment, his eyes moved slightly. A vortex appeared ahead. Stepping into the vortex, disappeared without a trace in Yang City, 3 of the top 10 prestigious schools. Among them is the Chaos Element Academy ranked 3rd, the 6th ranked Coachman Academy, Awakening Academy ranked 10th. Everyone is guarding here. Chaos Element Academy, a young man in a red robe, frowning as he looked at everything in the city. Long time no see. Your temper is still the same as it was back then. Like seeing a sharp edge fully revealed, he murmured to himself. This reminded him of the time he spent with the sword god. A scene of fighting side by side. Suddenly, he smiled, said, however, you're still as impulsive as you were back then, arriving with a sword, although it's refreshing, but it damages your reputation. This is how the sword god was back then. Cold exterior, warm heart. With a sword, he slays the invading enemies. Never back down. Forge ahead fearlessly. From B-level talent, forced to transform into an SS level. This is not only because of his high comprehension, also because of his obsession with the sword. You always seem to overlook things when you work. I'll go take care of the inheritance. Just like when I was with you back then." He sighed, glanced at the direction of inheritance. Flames spewing from beneath, with a loud bang, like a rocket firing, flying into the sky. Its speed is astonishing, astonishing. On the other side, Charioteer Academy, rank 6. Creator, Coachman. The strongest major at this academy is the charioteer, the so-called coachman. You can manipulate matter. The awakener of life categories. This is the ideal academy for summoners. It is also the academy most yearned for by telekinetics. At this moment, in the academy, someone encounters flight in the sky. Someone is about to take flight. Someone stands in mid-air, flying with mental power. Lin Yu, though, does not have a system. This will also be the most suitable academy for him. Strictly speaking, he is also a charioteer. At this moment, behind the carriage driver's academy, a thunderous roar echoed through the air. "What do you say? King Lion has arrived!" The young man exclaimed in surprise. "They haven't seen each other for several years. I miss you dearly." A white tiger stood in front of him. The white tiger said, "He not only came, still need to kill. Why don't you go take a look?" "What? No way. Murder in Central City, even he desires, will eventually lead to destruction. He is still so impulsive. What is the matter? Can't you just ask us old friends for help?" HMPH. He is just that kind of person. He was just pondering a bit. Sansi Hussein. Like you, I love dogs. His talent for swordsmanship. It's just about to end. The white tiger also encounters. Sai. That's right. Let's go. Let's go find him. To my old friend Juing cheers. Who dares to bully him? You just go up and bite him. Got it. The coachman instructed. Bai Hu glanced at him. Said, got it. You big dog. Say it again. Just summon me back to the space. Don't. Handsome coachman, sir. I will follow all your instructions. The white tiger thought of the summoning space. He had a clever idea. He doesn't want to go back to that place. So boring. Lie down. I want to experience flying. The driver said. Bai Hu smiled wryly. Can only lie down. The coachman stood on the back of the white tiger. Said, departure. King Khan Academy, ranked 10th among the top 10 universities. Creator, Divine Monk. The entire academy resembles a Buddhist temple. Buddhist pagodas, spiritual power. Temples everywhere. There are few middle school students in the academy, only a little over 100 people. But every student, they are all skilled practitioners of physical training, cooperate with the academy's Vajra series techniques, can turn a body of flesh, achieve the body of a diamond. It is among the 10 great academies of the human race. The academy best at close combat. At that moment, a middle-aged monk suddenly opened my eyes. He looked at the students outside the door. Said, what is it? The sword god has arrived. And it came in with great momentum. There may be a great battle. The cabinet ministers request your presence. I hope to stabilize the sword god. Do not let the tragedy of infighting among the human race occur. The monk remained as steadfast as a mountain. The students outside also maintained the posture of greeting, motionless. After a while, the holy monk stood up and said, Amitabha Buddha, I understand this matter completely. You can go down now. Once the students had left, he just walked out of the main hall. I glanced at the sky. It's been many years since we last met. It should be time to part ways. It's time to catch up. Speak The whole body turned golden, chased the sound away, legs slightly bent, with a loud bang, leap into the air. Chapter 70. Slat. In front of the Law Enforcement Bureau. A light garment. Sword god Lai Kinglian. Slightly furrowed brow. He slowly raised his arm. This action. Everyone was instantly terrified. They held their breath, looking at his raised arm, afraid of his arm. When it fell down, the giant sword of slaughter in the sky also fell down. After a while, his arm fell down. The giant sword still hovers in the air. It hasn't fallen. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that what follows, it will be a moment of peace. Suddenly, a series of piercing sounds, echoing in everyone's ears. Stab, stab, stab. It sounded like the scraping of metal, from an unknown origin. Drill into the ear. Some people's ears. Even blood was shed. This sound is too harsh. It's simply challenging the limits of human hearing. Quick, cover your ears. Someone shouted. This sound comes quickly. It won't take long to get there. When everyone let go, the hand covering the ears. When I looked up, I was instantly stunned by the scene before me. They didn't know when. Suddenly appeared in a strange world. The ground beneath is blood-red soil. The sky has a blood-red moon. A faint red glow illuminated the entire land. The giant sword still looms in the sky. What meets the eye? A patch of blood red. Where is this? How did I suddenly end up here? I don't want to. I want to go back. Don't make it difficult. I'm just an onlooker. Sword God Senior. What? I hope nothing unexpected happens. Will I die? It is written on the tombstone. Died from eating melon. Eat less melon in the future. I heard it can reduce the frequency of unexpected encounters. I don't believe you at all. Suddenly someone shouted, This is field. This is the sword domain of the sword god Senior. Someone recognized this place. Suddenly exclaimed, The realm is inhabited by very few ninth order powerhouses. Awakening of talent, a powerful skill. But the world before me, it is clearly the sword god's domain. A sword domain. Isolate everyone from the real world. So, what does Senior Sword God want to do? Is it possible? They looked nervously ahead. This young mountain sword god. Someone is looking forward. Someone is anxious. There is no one answer. And opposite them, the boundary of that big gate already disappeared. Sun Zi and the sword god and others. Now standing face to face. There are no obstacles in between anymore. Sun Zi is not a weakling either. He saw it at a glance. The power of this sword domain, far from what he can compare to. He was filled with fear. Shouted out, Lai Kinglian, do not stray onto the wrong path. The further we go, the farther away we drift. You killed me. It is a violation of the regulations. Others will follow your example in the future. The human society system fell into chaos. For the human race, we cannot take action. However, his voice is louder, cannot hinder the sword god's advance. He raised his hand. Huang walked towards Sun Zi. Others from Sun Zi's side, watching the approaching sword god. Suddenly, I was terrified and trembling all over. Sword god Senior, think carefully. That's right. Sword god Senior, you are my idol. You can't kill people. These people looked at the sword god, the silhouette approaching gradually. My hands and feet are trembling. When your life and death, only when others have a thought. All schemes are insignificant. Only one thought remains in my mind. Living. A person has died, but there is nothing left. But I don't know who it is. Shout loudly, unleashing innate abilities. Stopped in the distance. The others saw this. They scattered and fled in all directions. Only Sun did not move. He knows he can't escape. This is the sword desire. With the power of the sword, transform into a world. This method, the entire human race, only a handful of people possess it. His hands and feet trembled, indicates that the heart is not at peace. Watching the figure of the sword god approaching, a threat from death approaches. Make his heart race. Suddenly, 3 meters in front of Sun Zi, the sword god stopped in his tracks. Sun Zi saw the sword god stop. A wave of relief washed over me. The pressure from the sword god was too much for him just now. He almost thought, in the next moment I will die. He looked at the frowning expression of the sword god. Thought the sword god was going to negotiate. He hurriedly said, "The human race has its own rules. Can you stop? Don't do anything wrong. This is the nature of humanity. All crimes shall be judged by the law. Zhu Yang's crime. It's not impossible to be lenient. You just need to recommend me to enter the cabinet. I will release Zhu Yang immediately. You never intended to join the cabinet anyway. From now on, you will guard your own rules. I entered my cabinet. Mutual non-interference. How are you? You finally revealed your purpose." The sword god said lightly. Sun Zi smiled and said, "This is beneficial for both you and me. Isn't it? As long as it's you." Before the voice could finish, he suddenly froze, because the scenery before my eyes has changed drastically. Here Sun Zi was taken aback. Slaughter prison. The sword god finished speaking. Dandin said, "I guard the rules, killing the monstrous beasts and powerful beings from other realms. Countless, the resentment of these enemies. All were drawn into the sword of slaughter. I will bind him in prison. Draw a designated area, forming a prison. This is the prison within the prison. It's also the prison I prepared for you. Let's talk about the thrill between life and death. Enemy in my hands. Death is the gentlest of resting places." He rarely talks this much. It is also for Sun Zi's impending death. Some words. Can't hold it in any longer. Go ahead. Release your resentment. He waved his hand gently. Release all the cages. Countless vengeful spirits surged forth. Then turn and walk outside. With every step he takes, the giant sword of slaughter in the sky, just shrink it a bit. In the slaughtering space, countless ghastly vengeful spirits, roaring, madly charging towards Sun Zi. Sun Zi was taken aback. Counted. I don't want to die. You let me go. I immediately let Zhu Yang go. However, the sword god has drawn his sword. How could there be a reason to take it back? Sun Zi displays his gifted skills. A teal-colored divine shadow appeared behind. The shadow god waved his hand. Ring slash. Slay one monster after another. However, too many vengeful spirits. From all directions, even underground, continuously emerging. Sun Zi is tired. The energy within has been depleted. He was covered in wounds, screamed in agony. Light, light, light. You need to hold on tight first. We could have a good talk, just like when I argue with others. You don't follow the rules. Light, you want to kill so many monsters, capturing so many vengeful spirits. So painful, unable to kill completely. You are in the boudoir. How many did he really kill? The last moment, the moment of brilliance before the end. He reminisces about his youth. As an SSG awakened one, how spirited, until he met that person. All of this has vanished. He would forever be that person's defeated subordinate, living a life in his shadow. Later, the system of the human race has been established. He climbed up frantically. He wants to enter the core, become a person above others, and enter the core, although the sword god does not hold any position. But his reputation is too great. Every word and action draws attention. What he said was heard by someone, and it's very heavy. This is also why he wants to scheme against the sword god. He is going to join the cabinet. The words of the sword god. It will carry significant weight. Thus, the incident of framing Zhu Yang occurred. I thought it would be a tug of war, ultimately achieving his goal of entering the cabinet. I didn't expect them to flip the table directly. Flipping the table isn't enough. He will also have his head chopped off. It's truly ironic. Smartness can backfire. He smiled bitterly, knocked down to the ground by a vengeful spirit. But the vengeful spirits that died at the hands of the sword god rushed forward wildly, gnawing on Sun Zi's body, releasing overwhelming resentment. The flesh is slowly being devoured. In the end, only one sentence remained. Pale, pale skeleton. A soft thud fell to the ground. Sun Zi has died. The sword god's intention moved. The sword wished to vanish. He raised his arm. The slaughter sword has been reduced to its normal size. A dragon spot flew into the palm of my hand. Holding the sword, sheathed the sword. In one breath, look up. Many people have arrived. Chapter 71. Subsequent Troubles. Powerful Yan Zhen. I'm back. Finally back. You scared me to death. Senior Sword God didn't make things difficult for us. Thank you, Sword God Senior. That's right. Where did the director of the Law Enforcement Bureau go? Someone asked this question. Many people felt silent, although they did not witness the scene of Sun Zi's murder. But after thinking for a moment, I can only think that he might be in serious trouble. Sigh, what a pity. It was not easy to cultivate to this level. Climbed back to a high position again. In the end, still got caught. Someone was killed. At this moment, many people re-enter the live stream. The screen reappeared. They rushed in one after another. What happened? The internet suddenly went down. That's right. I thought you were attacked by a tribe. What kind of isolation formation? The internet is down. How did the giant sword disappear? What about the person opposite? Why is everything gone? No way. Did the sword god senior defeat them? Host, please explain. Countless questions appeared in everyone's hearts. They urged the host one after another. Tell the reason for the matter. The live streams are really intense. Sunzeren, where are you? They also don't know. But Sun Zi's colleague, they know. Everyone just ran away. So, John Jubo, I can only share what I know. It has been revealed. 80% likely dead. I bet $10. Gambling led to Sun's death. If I guessed wrong, friends in front of the screen, rate my $10. If I win, everyone has won. Send me 10 yuan. How are you? Go to hell, you. How do you insult someone? That's impolite. I still. Look quickly. Someone has arrived. In the sky, 3 streaks of light in different colors flew in. They are extremely fast. Just saw it. Still far away. In the blink of an eye, they have already arrived in front of the mirror. Zhao Qi and Professor Wang. In the crowd. Surprised expression. There is none. Disappeared before. No matter what just happened. Across the sky, it's hard to tell the exact size. Red giant sword. It's still the sword desire of sword god Senpai. It's not from now. what they can access. Even Zhao Qi, the shock on his face. It lingers for a long time. However, he quickly snapped back to reality, then made a phone call. Distant inheritance. In the villa, since Zhao Qi, after leaving the inheritance, the spiritual realm has changed. Feeling a bit lonely, feeling empty inside. He has no interest in cultivation. Looking at some miscellaneous books. Killing time. At this moment, a doppelganger suddenly woke up. Then he understood. The doppelganger has learned. First layer of the Wanbao Nenki technique. Lin Yu's great joy, quickly retracting the split body, merged with the memories of the doppelganger. He quickly understood as well. Essence of the martial arts technique, just lacking proficiency. Energy within the body, transform into fire attribute. Then use Wanbao Ninki Jiu. The flame energy gathers in the palm. Before long, a flaming long sword. It has condensed into shape. This weapon, overall presented in a fiery red color, reflecting on the surface the brilliance of crystals. He tried to swing a few times, discovering real weapons. There's no difference. The only drawback is, if energy is not continuously injected, it will gradually dissipate. The practice of the first layer can only condense Tier 1 equipment. But it's also better than the Tang knife. It must be sharp and sturdy. But I want to break through the defense of the high-tier beast. It's still too far off. However, this is just the beginning. There is a doppelganger assisting in training. Level 10 of the martial arts technique. It can be expected soon. After the split, there won't be a shortage of re-equipment. Lin Yu's great joy, waving weapons around. At this moment, the sound of beeping echoed. Lin Yu placed the long sword aside, looking at the watch. It turns out it's a call from Zhao Qi. Click to answer. Zhao Qi. The sword god has come to Central City. Director General of the Law Enforcement Bureau. He might be dead. Hurry and open the live streaming app to watch. Spirit domain. Coming so quickly. Zhao Qi. Yes. The day I arrived in Central City, my heart never settled down. It has been beating wildly. Zhao Qi. New developments have emerged. Hurry and enter the live streaming room. Observe the skills of the sword god senior closely. Helpful for cultivation. Spirit domain. Okay, I understand. Hung up the phone. Lin Yu opens the live streaming software. Indeed, many sword god live streams were discovered. He casually clicked on one. Enter the live stream room. I found the bullet comments to be overwhelming. Blocked the live stream screen. Lin Yu had no choice but to close the bullet comments. He finally saw it. The appearance of the sword god Lai Kinglian. He was wearing a blue garment. A green ribbon with intertwined blue lotus is tied around the waist. Long hair is kept, spread over both shoulders. Beneath the brows are a pair of melancholic eyes. Long and slender physique. Handsome and suave, so young-looking. Lin Yu took a slight probe. At this moment, the sword god on the screen suddenly looked up at the sky. Everyone looked up at the sky. The camera also shifts to the sky. Someone's here. Central City. The sword god looked up at the sky. 3 streaks of light flew through the sky. He saw these 3 streaks of light. Let out a sigh, feeling a bit more at ease. After a while, 3 beams of different colors of light landed not far from the sword god. The sword god smiled faintly, said, "You have arrived." The 3 of them saw the scene. On the path, everything is over. But just thinking about the sword god's personality, it's not surprising. Fayazi wore a Taoist robe, holding the compass, middle-aged appearance. He smiled and said, "I heard news about you. Come over and lend you a hand." The monk also looked like a middle-aged man, but he was tall. It stands at least 2 meters tall. Muscles all over my body seek cleanliness. Like a diamond, he recited a Buddhist chant, Amitabha Buddha. The donor is still the same as back then. Untried smoothness. Keep a pure heart. This is the heart of Buddha. The monk admires. The sword god chuckled. "You monk, still so serious, huh? I am Jiangxin. It's not a Buddha's heart. What do things want? You've been completely taught the ways of Buddhism." The holy monk smiled, chanted the Buddha's name again. The benefactor teaches a lesson. It is the scent of a peaceful monk. A young charioteer riding a white tiger said, "That monk has fallen back into his old habits again. King Lin, no matter what happens today, I stand by your side." All three are big shots. Deans of the top 10 universities. Still the founder. Their strengths are not to be underestimated. In the entire human race, they are all pivotal figures. They have their positions. Lai King Lian's pressure suddenly decreased. This is enough to indicate the deep friendship among several people. The sword god chuckled. "With your help. Any trouble. The city's smoke clears away." The coachman echoed the words. King Lian is right. Today is the day the cabinet elder has arrived. We will not take a step back. How dare they bully someone as insignificant as Sun Zi? We have reached the Kinglian peak. This is the negligence of the minister. It's better if he doesn't come over. If he dares to come, I have to question him personally. The coachman finished speaking. He also patted the head of the white tiger, of fearless appearance. Suddenly, a sound came from behind him, a voice that is aged and commanding. Hearing this sound, he suddenly had a clever idea, turned his head stiffly. I saw that familiar old man. At this moment, Zhang looked at himself with a smile. The driver awkwardly said, "Ji Lao, how did you come here? What I just said was all nonsense. Don't do that again." "Ah, ah, ah, ah." Speak. Quickly hid behind the sword god. Among the human race, the sword god is universally recognized as the number one in attack, and the minister claims to be the best at defense. But he once defended the human race. Severely injured, it caused him significant losses. Until just over 300 years old, has already turned into the elderly man with white hair. Among these people, the elder statesman is the oldest. Vijay Shen and others. It needs to be 30 or 40 years older. He smiled, said, "Sun Zi, how about you?" "Tid." The sword god said calmly, "Do you know the crime?" The minister said, "Responsible inquiry. What crime are you going to charge me with?" Sword god asks the way. The minister straightened slightly, about to get angry. Suddenly, from afar, a red streak of light flew by. Everyone looked up. The flowing light quickly fell to the ground. "Yan Jun will take a few people in hand." Threw it on the ground. Said, "Ji Lao, you must keep your eyes wide open. Don't slander good people. I specially went to the scene of the incident. The investigation has clarified the sequence of events." These people are the gang that framed Zhu Yang. You can interrogate them. Chapter 72. Yan Jun and the four of them compete to treat guests. Support Fu Yeazi to win. A golden light appeared in the hands of the official. The moment the golden light appeared, transformed into a gigantic palm. The palm sliced through the air. A few people were brought before him. He said in a low voice, "Speak out everything you know." The noble's mood is anything but calm. The Law Enforcement Bureau had this incident. It will definitely not be the first time. Before this may have happened many times before. As the Prime Minister, the peak of human power, did not realize all of this in time. It is also his negligence. Cocoa High, he suddenly coughed a few times. A sharp pain struck in my chest, make his expression change, somewhat pale. And those kneeling on the ground are the heirs of the Law Enforcement Bureau. I was already trembling with fear. Facing the crowd's pressing questions, they are honest and straightforward. Once again, the matter was discussed. Minister, oh, we are all being forced into this. If I don't behave, my career prospects are gone. There may even be unforeseen incidents. But I still have family. I still have to support them. I feel helpless. I am guilty. Please be lenient. He spoke with tears and emotion, but no one sympathized with him. Pity for him. To the victim, isn't it also a form of harm and insult? This is an outright accusation. Moreover, it was the disciple of the sword god who was falsely accused. Even the disciples of the sword god can be falsely accused. It goes without saying. The situation of other falsely accused people. A huge uproar has erupted online. Those who once believed in the fair enforcement of the law. At this moment, it fell silent. I knew Yu Yang was wronged. This case is full of doubts. Surprisingly, no one reported it. Imagination can also be heart-wrenching. The character of the sword god senior is so noble. His disciple could not be a treacherous little person. I misunderstood Yu Yang. I want to reflect on my actions. We request the minister to strictly investigate the Law Enforcement Bureau. Return to the world a bright and clear heaven and earth. If this happened to someone else, that truly is a dead end. There's no way to enter the ground. So I request reform. Netizens witnessed it all. From the very beginning, it was none of my business. A call for reform from Tianying up to now. Facing the overwhelming public opinion, even the minister cannot ignore it. He shouted loudly, "Take the person into custody." Beheading in public 3 days later. Additionally, Zhu Yang was released immediately. With this command given, it can be seen as an explanation to the public. However, everyone is still not satisfied. Why do you have the right to catch me? Just let it be. Jilao. Compensation? Someone shouted. Pret, you can't catch someone like that. Made someone spend a few days in jail. There's no compensation at all, right? Someone retorted. And this is once. There will definitely be a second time. You can't just check this once, can you? Past cases. Does everything have to be overturned and reviewed again? Someone suggested. The elder spoke solemnly. I have understood your request. Afterwards, we will organize the personnel, conduct a thorough inspection of the Law Enforcement Bureau. Let all wrongful convictions disappear. Additionally, we have long prepared a great gift for Zhu Yang. He took out a skill stone, said, "This is a 7-level skill gemstone. This is the compensation we are giving to Zhu Yang." Everyone then stopped. 7th level skill, gold stone. It can no longer be measured by money. Can take out the 7th tier skill gem as a reward. This clearly shows the sincerity of the official. Yu Yang was quickly released and gave him the skill stone. He came to the sword god's side, respectfully said, "Master, you did very well in this matter. I am very relieved." The sword god said, to receive praise from the master. Zhu Yang felt a sense of joy in her heart. It's all thanks to the master's good teaching. Zhu Yang said, with a thud. The arm of the sword god, it slapped on his head, said, "Slaughtered the Lai family. You may have made a mistake. Ju Yang shook his head, said, "They colluded with the spirit world, attempting to resurrect the deceased third young master of the life family, and the offering is the life of hundreds of human beings. I killed them to eliminate harm for the people. Clear conscience." The sword god nodded. But soon he shook his head again. She snorted coldly. "You killed the entire life family. I am very pleased. Prove that your heart is filled with justice. But when the Enforcement Bureau comes to arrest you, why not resist? Master, he feels bitter inside. The reason he does not resist, it is because he has a clear conscience. But he also didn't expect. It has become dirty here. After all, he is only 29. The sword god is already 300 years old. The gap in experiences between the two is too vast. No, next time." The sword god glanced around, spoke. "If you let me know next time you place your hope in the sense of justice of others, you should go to the depths of Gui Zu and stay there for 3 years before returning." Ju Yanwan, images of the depths of Gui Zu suddenly flashed in my mind. I immediately shivered, shook his head. "That place is simply uninhabitable. Master," the apprentice realized his mistake. "I won't do it again next time." He lowered his head. "Obedient path." The sword god said, I hope this is the last time." "Definitely." Ju Yang immediately said, "This is